finals will be about the laboratory procedures, yung mga laboratory tests ng homeostasis. So, ano ba muna ang homeostasis? So, homeostasis, it means balance. It means equilibrium ng ano, equilibrium of the blood, especially yung coagulation. Okay, in our blood. So, pag sinabi natin coagulation, ibig pong sabihin, clotting. Okay, nagka-clot yung blood natin, right? So, bakit siya nagka-clot? Kasi, meron pong certain instances or may mga conditions, like for example, may bleeding. So, dahil ayaw natin na mag-leak yung blood natin from the blood vessel, we want to stop the bleeding process, right? And that is by the coagulation process. Right. Ngayon, hindi naman pwedeng sobrang dami ng coagulation, hindi rin naman pwedeng konti lang ang coagulation kasi kapag mababa ang coagulation process sa katawan mo, it will result to bleeding. Kapag sobrang dami naman ng coagulation na nangyayari sa katawan natin, it will result to hypercoagulation condition. So, halimbawa, pwedeng yung clot occlude or bumara siya sa mga blood vessel natin. So, ayaw rin nating mangyari yon. Kaya, kailangan nating ma-maintain ang homeostasis. Okay, ngayon, ano ba tong homeostasis na to at paano siya nangyayari? Okay, it starts with a stimulus. And kadalasan ng stimulus na nangyayari ay mga blood vessel injury. Ano ibig sabihin ng blood vessel injury? Halimbawa, di ba during venipuncture, di ba nag-i-insert tayo ng needle? And then once na pinull out natin yung needle, di ba nagli-leak yung blood sa tissue? And then di ba napansin nyo, after few minutes, nag-stop or tumitigil yung bleeding. Kasi nga, gumana na yung coagulation process natin sa katawan. Maintindihan? So, paano ba nangyayari yon? After the stimulus or after the blood vessel injury. So, coagulation process will occur. You have to remember there are two types of coagulation. The primary and stasis and secondary. Okay. So, sa primary hemostasis, ang mga components are blood vessel, okay? Platelets, and plasma proteins. Sa secondary, may platelet pa din and proteins. Okay. Ngayon, ang major tawag dito, player sa primary hemostasis are the platelets. And then, dito naman sa secondary, proteins. So, kumbaga, may bida. Tapos, tinutulungan sila ng ibang component. So, in the primary hemostasis, so it's the platelets that are acting for you to be able to create yung tinatawag nating white clot. Or others call this as, dahil nga consistion ng mga platelet platelet plug. Okay? Tapos, kung kulang yung action na ginawa ng primary hemostasis natin, then secondary hemostasis will be activated. In this particular process, ang na-form naman natin ay yung tinatawag nating red clot. Okay? So, para mag-stop ang bleeding, kailangan mangyari ang coagulation. Pero, paano kung hindi na natin kailangan? Let's say, for example, na-repair na, no? Halimbawa, bumalik na yung tissue natin, na-repair na yan, gumaling na. Now, what will happen to the clot? Okay? The clot should not remain in our system. Hindi pwede yung maiwan sa sistema natin. Kailangan po yan malyse. And that is by the process of fibrinolysis. So, lysis of the clot. Malinaw po ba? And once na-lyse na yung clot, babalik na ulit sa homeostasis. Ay malinaw po ba? Kapag ka may injury ulit, pagka meron ulit na stimulus, mag-activate ulit ang primary, secondary, plus fibrinolysis and the cycle continues. Okay? So, sa prelim, eto lahat yung pag-uusapan natin. Ayan. So, we'll start with the discussion of the platelet structure, the production, all about the platelet. Kasi nga, importante siya sa primary hemostasis. And then, next meeting, we'll talk about the, kaya nga ang primary hemostasis pala, by the way, is also known as platelet function. Bakit platelet function? Kasi nga siya yung pinaka-importante sa primary hemostasis, yung mga platelet. So, next week, we'll be dealing with the primary, then the following week, we'll be dealing with the secondary hemostasis, and then the following week, we'll be dealing with the fibrinolysis. Then sa midterm, lahat ng disorders associated with the hemostasis, finals, lahat naman ng laboratory procedures. Okay po. Ngayon, tatandaan po natin, okay, makinig that hematology 2, kapag naiwan ninyo ang hematology 2, hindi po tayo tutuloy ng internship ha, or you will not be permitted to take any subject na naiwan ninyo sa third year, second semester. Hindi po kayo papayagan na mag-take ng internship. Now, paalala ko lang, no? During the lecture, tip po ito, just a tip, no? During the lecture, makikinig na kayo para maiwasan na natin yung mga information overload kapag mag-aaral na kayo for the quizzes and also for the exam. So, tulungan nyo na rin yung sarili ninyo, no? Especially if you really want to take the internship next semester. So, magseryoso po tayo, no, for this semester para maging maganda yung turnout ng events sa inyo pagdating ng finals. Okay po? Okay, so let's proceed. 8 to 10 femtoliter lang naman to. Diba? 8 to 10 femtoliter yung volume ng mga platelet. Tapos, halos kasing laki lang siya ng RBC or hindi kasing laki, mas maliit pa siya sa RBC. So, less than 6 micrometer lang din yung diameter ng platelet. So, it's very small that the structure can only be viewed in electron microscope. Okay? So, kaya siya tinawag na ultrastructure. We'll talk about the components at ano yung mga importance ng components na yan sa function. Okay. Kanina, nabanggit ko, pag sinabi natin primary hemostasis. Okay, this is also known as platelet function. Alright, may tatlo pong stages ang platelet function. It starts with the platelet adhesion, followed by platelet release, followed by platelet aggregation. Tandaan niyo yung tatlong, phases ng platelet function: adhesion, release, aggregation. Adhesion, release, aggregation. Okay. Kasi i-correlate natin isa-isa yung structure dyan. Alright. Let us start with the plasma membrane. Bakit natin sinabing resting? Kasi ang platelet, once activated, okay, iba na po ang magiging structure nila. So, let's say, ang resting platelet is round or it's discoid. Okay? Round or discoid. But once it's already activated, ibig sabihin, gagawin niya na yung function niya. Mag-a-adhere na siya, may presence na ng stimulus, mag-a-adhere na siya, re-release na siya, tsaka mag-aggregate na siya, it will now be in irregular pattern. Katulad po nito. Okay? Kasi meron na po siyang mga pseudopod formation, which is very important for aggregation. Okay po? Yung aggregation, yung pangatlong step ng platelet function. So, ito yung nagiging structure niya once activated. Ang pag-uusapan natin is when the platelet are still in resting phase. Okay? So, ano bang laman? Number 1, of course, the plasma membrane. It is consists of proteins and lipids, either phospho or cholesterol. Okay? So, ito yung phospholipid natin. Bilayer pa din. Bakit bilayer? One layer, another layer. This is the outer component. This is the inner component. So, barrier. Okay, laging ganon. Pag ang phospholipid layer, makikita naman natin yan lagi sa kahit anong cell. It serves as a basic structure and a barrier between the outer and the inner membrane. So, ano naman ang composition sa labas? So, phosphatidylcholine, sphingomyelin. Phosphatidylиnositol, ethanolamine, and phosphatidylserine. Ito naman yung makikita natin sa inner membrane. So, ano ang purpose? It will support the platelet activation by providing the arachidonic acid. So, in platelet function, especially in the process of aggregation, malalaman ninyo next week kung ano ang importance ng arachidonic acid. Okay? Next week na lang po yan. So, for now, you have to remember one of the structure no, na nagpo-provide ng arachidonic acid para sa platelet activation and platelet function ay ang ating phospholipid. Specifically, phosphatidylserine, phosphatidylethanolamine, and phosphatidylinositol. Clear ba yon? Okay, next. Another would be the cholesterol. Meron tayong esterified and unsterified. Unsterified sa labas, esterified sa inner. So, naka-insert po ang ating cholesterol asymmetrically. So, ibig sabihin, wala pong pattern yan. Yung insertion or yung distribution ng cholesterol, whether sterified or unsterified, sa phospholipid natin. So, ano naman ang purpose? Number 1, it will help stabilize the membrane para hindi po siya mabilis na ma-lyse. It will maintain the fluidity, ibig sabihin yung flexibility ng ating platelet, and also yung passage ng material. So, ibig sabihin, it's via the cholesterol, no, na nakakapasok yung iba't ibang materials, may it be ions, pwedeng proteins, no, napapasok or lalabas sa platelet. Okay? Siya yung nagko-control, si cholesterol. Next, let's talk about the protein. Ang protein naman, okay, is either glycoprotein or proteoglycan. So, ganun din. Katulad ng cholesterol, naka-anchor yan sa phospholipid natin. So, maaaring ito ay mga this protein support your glycosaminoglycan, glycosaminoglycan, oligosaccharide, glycolipids. Ano ba itong mga to? These are important as surface receptors. Ayan po. Ayan o. They are supporting cell surface receptors. So, imagine ninyo, ito yung platelet, halimbawa, meron tayo ditong surface receptor. Ayan, surface receptor. made up of glycosaminoglycan, oligosaccharide, glycolipids, and glycoprotein. So para saan yan? This will be the cell surface receptor for the ligands or agonists. Ano naman yung ligands or agonists? Eh, ito yung mag-i-stimulate sa function ng platelet. Halimbawa, familiar naman siguro kayo sa mga cell surface receptor kasi hindi naman ito yung unang pagkakataon na nabanggit sa inyo. Like for example, in your immunoserology, very familiar ang cell surface receptor. So technically, ihahalin tulad natin siya sa pinto na may lock. Okay? Pintong may lock. So imagine niyo yung bahay ninyo, yung cell, yung pinto, okay, yung plasma membrane, tapos yung cell surface receptor, yun yung lock. Okay? Yung ligands or yung agonist, yun yung stimuli na i-insert natin doon sa or kakapit or magbabind doon sa surface receptor. So parang susi at saka yung lock. So once na nakapasok na yung susi doon sa lock, 'di ba? Mabubuksan na natin yung pinto. In the same way, maa-activate natin, kung sa platelet naman, maa-activate natin yung platelet. Malinaw po ba yon? So halimbawa, platelet, tapos ang ligand natin is ADP. So, halimbawa, ADP. So once na nag-bind na si ADP doon sa cell surface receptor, which are either made up of proteins, no, or the glycoproteins or proteoglycans, the platelet will then be activated. Malinaw po ba yon? Okay. Next, another part of the plasma membrane, actually, ito yung nasa surface ng plasma membrane. So, kung ito yung plasma membrane natin, nandito yung glycocalyx natin sa labas. Ayan. Malinaw ba yon? Nasa labas. So, ngayon, ang glycocalyx, it will contain or it contains this pore-like indentation. Para saan yan? Para makapag-absorb ng iba't ibang plasma proteins like albumin, fibrinogen, etc. Bakit? Kasi ang platelets, hindi po niya kayang gumawa or hindi niya kayang gawin lahat ng proteins na kailangan niya. Hindi niya kayang gawin lahat ng components na kailangan niya. So, most of it, or some of it, not most, but some of it will come from the plasma protein. Okay? Galing sa labas. Hindi katulad ng neutrophil, na kaya niyang gawin yung mga platelets or kaya niyang i-synthesize yung mga components niya. Ang platelet, kailangan niya na kumuha from the plasma or yung iba ginagawa niya. So, isa sa mga nag-a-absorb ng mga kailangan niya mula sa labas is yung kanyang glycocalyx. Then, tinatransport niya yon kasi sa platelet, meron tayong tinatawag na mga storage organelles. Dalawa yon, alpha granule at saka dense granule. Yan, dalawa yon. Okay. Dinadala niya yon via endocytosis. Okay? So, yan yung mga storage organelles na naglalaman ng iba't ibang components ng platelets. Okay? So, also, other than absorbing the plasma proteins, it is also capable of being adhesive. Di ba kung naalala ninyo, tatlo yung platelet function. Adhesion, ano isa? Release. Okay? And aggregation. So, isa po ang glycocalyx na tumutulong sa process ng adhesion. Ang understood? Para mabilis siyang kumapit sa site ng injury. Okay? Next, punta tayo sa SCCS. Nakikita nyo to? Invagination from the plasma membrane. Okay? Now, what is that for? Diba ang glycocalyx nasa labas? Diba nag-absorb siya ng mga plasma protein? So, saan niya dinadala yung ibang protein? Other than, bago yan makarating, no, sa sa storage organelles ng platelet, yung iba dyan napupunta sa SCCS, Surface Connected Canalicular System. Okay? So, one, store. Two, it will enhance the release of the platelet product. Remember, adhesion, after nun, magre-release ng components para ma-enhance ang aggregation. Okay, ngayon, ito yung alpha granule. Ayan. Ito yung alpha granule. So, paano nagagamit ang SCCS para sa release? Si alpha granule, it binds with your SCCS. Di ba may mga laman na components ang alpha granule. Through the SCCS, the components are released. Gets po yun? So, ibig sabihin, si alpha granule, dahil nga invagination ng SCCS mula sa exterior ng platelet, ginagamit po siya as route of secretion. Not only for endocytosis, but also for the release of the contents, especially the alpha granule. This is upon activation, okay? So, syempre, dahil nga merong access mula sa labas at sa loob, mas mapapabilis ng SCCS yung access. Right? So, dahil nga mayroong connection sa labas at sa loob via the SCCS, mabilis ang access. Kumbaga, para siyang door, anong tawag doon? Back door ng platelet. Okay? Na pwedeng daanan, no? Ng iba't ibang components para sa platelet. Okay? Next. Para saan naman ang DPS? DPS is very small. So, mapapansin nyo, hindi natin yan makita dito sa ating diagram kasi nga, it is only remnant of your rough ER. Maliit lang yan. Pero kung ilo-locate mo siya at tabi, no? Or aligned siya sa SCCS. So, nasa plasma membrane lang din yan. The dense tubular system. So, what is that for? So, number one, sinesequester niya ang calcium. And number two, it contains also a lot of enzymes that will support as well the activation of the platelet. And etong mga components or itong mga enzymes na to, we'll just talk about this once we talk about the platelet function. For now, tandaan niyo muna that these enzymes are found in the DPS or dense tubular system. Clear? Okay, next, let's talk about the cytoskeleton. So, first is the microtubules. The microtubules, eto yan. Diba? Ito yung plasma membrane. Yan. Ito yung microtubule. Ayan o. Yan. So, the microtubule, it surrounds the platelet and it will maintain the platelet's discoid shape. So, sabi ko nga kanina, it's either discoid or it's either round. So, kailan siya nagiging round at kailan siya nagiging discoid? So, ang may dahilan para mag-shift sa discoid at round ay ang microtubule. So, imagine ninyo, at 37 degrees Celsius, discoid yung shape niya. Yung parang donut, yung shape, di ba? Parang paganyan. Ganyan yung shape nun, ng discoid. Ngayon, kapag, ito ay sa 37 ha, sa 37, nilagay mo siya sa refrigerator temperature. So, ang mangyayari, yung mga microtubule nagme-maintain sa discoid shape, imaginein mo, magbibitaw yan. Okay? It will disassemble. So, what will happen? From the discoid, when you place it in a refrigerator, it will form a round shape. Okay? So, from this one, because of the microtubules, after exposing it at refrigerator temperature, it will disassemble and will form a round shape. Pero resting pa rin yun. Parehas pa rin silang resting phase. Pwede rin naman, kung hindi man refrigerator temperature, and expose or tinreat mo siya with colchicine. Colchicine. Okay? Ganun din ang mangyayari. It will form a round shape. And then, ano pa? Microtubule will enable also the expression ng alpha granule, yung release ng alpha granule content. Also, it will provide rigidity to the pseudopod. So, kailan nga natin ito mako-form? During platelet activation. Diba? Yung pseudopod. Remember, from this shape, ano nangyayari? Pag activated, nagpo-form po siya ng irregular shape because of the pseudopod formation. So, the ones that provides the rigidity to the pseudopods once it moves inwards during the platelet activation are microtubules. Okay? Next, microfilaments naman tayo. Microfilaments are consist of actin. Actin are important as contractile protein or the contractile component of the platelet. So, another function, it anchors the glycoproteins and the proteoglycans. Naalala nyo to? Ito yung mga cell surface receptors. So, the one that anchors that to your plasma membrane is actin. Okay? So, marami pong actin, majority nga, hindi naman majority, pero most of the protein content of your platelets are actin. 20 to 30% of the platelet proteins are actin. Okay? So, actin is globular and amorphous when it's in a resting platelet and it will be filamentous and contractile once na nag-increase na ang calcium concentration sa ating platelet. Okay? Next. Microfilaments pa rin tayo, desmin and vimentin. So, these are intermediate filaments that are connected with actin as well as with your tubules. That is also helping to maintain the platelet shape. So, all in all, whether it is microtubule or microfilament, ano po ang purpose? Eto. It maintains the platelet shape, or it provides provides support during the shape change of your platelet, whether that is round or discoid, extension ng pseudopod, and secretion, tinutulungan niya rin para ma-secrete ang granule content. Okay, punta na tayo dun sa storage organelles. Okay? Storage organelles. Dalawa lang naman to. One is the alpha granule. Mas marami to kumpara sa dense. So, ito yung alpha natin, no? It is medium gray pagka nilagyan natin ng osmium dye at tinignan natin sa transmission electron microscope. Okay? So, anong laman nito? Yung mga galing sa plasma, okay? And yung synthesized na protein. So, ulitin ko lang, paano nga niya nare-release yung product or paano niya nga nare-release yung content niya? It binds with the SCCS, and through the SCCS, the contents are released from the platelets upon activation. Okay po? Okay. And then, yes, Mr. Llarenas.
Okay lang po ba matanong po ulit? Ano po ulit yung meaning ng TEM?
Sorry, yung
TEM po, ma'am.
Sorry, hindi ko narinig. Ano po yun?
Yung sa may osmium dye, TEM po, yung naka-circle po ng red.
Sorry, hindi ko ulit na-pick up. Ano po yun? Hindi ko narinig.
Hello po, ma'am. Malakas po ba yung mic?
Yeah, yan. Ayan, okay na.
Okay na po. Yung sa may osmium dye, TEM po, yung red circle.
Okay. TEM is transmission electron microscope. Di ba sabi natin kanina, hindi nga natin nakikita yung structure sa normal na bright field microscope. So, we can only see the structures through electron microscope. Electron microscope yan. Alright. Microscope. Ayan. Okay na? So, medium gray siya ha, pag nilagyan natin ng dye, osmium dye in transmission electron microscope. So, okay na tayo dito. And I provided you with the table. Ngayon pa lang, makifamiliarize na po yung mga sarili natin sa components ng mga storage compartments or storage organelles. Katulad nito, differentiate dito, yung ilan pa lang naman to, no? Na makikita natin coagulation protein, ibig sabihin ng coagulation protein, ito yung mga ginagamit natin during the coagulation process or involved, no, in the coagulation process. And then non-coagulation protein, opposite. So we have albumin, immunoglobulins. Immunoglobulins are antibodies. So you have endocytose to ha, ibig sabihin ito yung galing sa plasma. And then meron din namang na-synthesize ang platelet like thrombospondin, von Willebrand factor, yan. Lahat yan, makikita po natin. Bakit ganun? Ayaw niya lumipat. No, na sinesynthesize din ng platelet. So we have the high molecular weight kininogen, plasminogen, platelet factor 4, etc. Okay? We will be explaining each component kapag na-discuss na natin yung platelet activation. Okay? So let us proceed to the dense granule. Sabi ko nga kanina, ito yung pangalawang storage organelle natin, pero mas konti siya compared to the alpha granule. And then, kung ang alpha granule is medium gray, this one will be black in osmium dye. And this contains smaller molecules. Mas maliliit yung mga molecules na meron siya. And because of that, dahil nga maliliit, mas mabilis na marirelease yung component niya. I mean, hindi na kailangan mag-combine with the SCCS. It will directly go to the plasma membrane and directly release its content to the plasma. So, diretso po yan sa plasma membrane. Pagdating niya sa plasma membrane, release ang content. Hindi niya na kailangan ng tulong ng SCCS. Unlike alpha granule. Okay? And then, ito yung mga small molecules na laman ng ating dense granule. So, ADP, adenosine triphosphate, adenosine diphosphate, adenosine triphosphate, serotonin, calcium, magnesium. So, andito rin naman yung mga characteristic or properties ng itong mga small molecules na to kung saan natin sila ginagamit. Again, mababanggit at mababanggit din natin sila when we talk about the platelet activation. For now, makifamiliarize muna po, alamin anong storage organelle sila makikita at ano ang correlation ng or ano yung function or properties nila sa platelet activation. Okay? And then finally, we have the lysosome. Lysosome is a digesting enzyme. Digesting enzyme. Ibig sabihin, parang yung sa neutrophil, di ba? Meron ding lysosome ang neutrophil. Antibacterial yun, di ba? Yun yung nagla-lyse or yun yung nag-digest sa bacteria. Dito, ang lysosome, kailangan ng platelet, number 1, para ma-digest yung vessel wall matrix component kapag nag-aggregate yung platelet. So, di ba, ito yung platelet. So, para mabilis siyang kumapit sa another platelet during the platelet aggregation, kailangan sirain niya muna or kailangan meron siyang tanggalin dun sa another platelet para mabilis siyang mag-aggregate. And also, yung mga non-functional na component, halimbawa, yung alpha granule, wala nang laman. Kasi na-release na. O, di non-functional na yung alpha granule, diba? Hindi pwedeng magstay lang si alpha granule doon. So, ang tawag dyan ay autophagic debris. Ibig sabihin, madadigest yan ng lysosome. Ulitin ko lang, autophagic debris are non-functional contents or component or structure ng platelet. Naalala niyo pa ba yung autophagy na process? Diba? Dinadigest niya yung mga old structures. Right? So, ganun din sa platelet. meron din tong capability to digest, no, these debris so that hindi po siya kakalat sa loob ng platelet. So, hanggang dito lang po tayo. Again, ito yung mga nabanggit ko na references kanina for the orientation.